Sagittarius, have you ever truly listened? If recently someone tried to enter your life, but something kept pushing them back. If you've sensed an invisible force surrounding your home, like a shield made of light, that was not an illusion, because right now, your home has been sealed by an angel. And no one can step inside unless granted sacred permission from you. Because the door of light never opens at a knock. It only opens when your heart stirs. Stay with me until the end, because once you understand the reason behind this, everything in your life will begin to shift. But have you ever asked yourself, why was your home the one chosen to be sealed? What made an angel stand guard at your doorstep, never leaving? Could it be that something inside is more precious than you realize? The answer begins with how you listen to the soul of the place you live. Have you ever sat in your own room, no one beside you, no noise, no movement, and yet felt a presence watching? A breeze of calm or a flicker of unease passing gently through your chest, with no explanation, just a quiet feeling? That is not your imagination. That is energy. A house has never been just a structure of bricks and mortar. It is a living entity, a spiritual field, an invisible realm of energy that your soul speaks to, whether you are aware of it or not. Your home is a mirror to your emotions, a journal that holds every word you've ever spoken, in both hope and despair. Its walls don't just block wind and rain. They carry the weight of your muffled cries in the pillow, the laughter left on a child's face, the whispered prayers you breathed when the world turned its back. There are rooms that pull your spirit downward the moment you step inside, though no one else is there. There are corners that make tears rise, and you cannot explain why. And there are sacred spaces where just stepping in feels like you are being embraced by invisible arms of comfort. Because homes remember. They remember the days you gave up, the cracks in your heart, and they hold it all, silently. Like an old shirt still holding the scent of someone who passed, your house holds the essence of every soul that once called it home, whether out of love or the kind of sorrow that has yet to find release. And for Sagittarius, the sign of freedom and wide horizons, a house can sometimes feel like a burden. But only those who have wandered far, slept in life's temporary resting places, truly understand. Sometimes freedom needs a sacred pause, a roof not to cage you, but to shelter you. People often see Sagittarius as the restless nomad of the zodiac, feet always moving, mind always chasing, heart resisting any form of bondage. But what they don't see is that deep inside every Sagittarius is a longing to return to a place that feels safe. Not a place to own forever, but a place to collapse without fear. Not a place to control, but a space where they can surrender and be held. And when a Sagittarius finally finds that home, a place where the air has been cleared, where the ghosts of the past no longer linger, everything changes. Their journey stops being about escape. It becomes a return. People often see Sagittarius as the wanderer of the zodiac, feet never still, mind never quiet, heart unwilling to be tied down. But few know this. Deep within the heart of Sagittarius lives a longing to return, to a place that feels truly safe. Not to stay forever, but to heal. Not to possess, but to collapse, without fear of being judged. And when a Sagittarius truly finds that kind of home, a space where the energy is pure, where the ghosts of the past no longer linger in the air, their journey changes. It's no longer about running. It becomes about returning. But how do you protect that sacred home? How do you know that no foreign energy is slipping through cracks in the walls or seeping into your sleep? How do you lie down in peace without fearing a pair of unseen eyes watching you in the night? That is when you call upon the guardian at the gate, your angel of protection. In every ancient spiritual tradition, from Kabbalah to Christianity, from Buddhism to Taoism, there exists the image of a divine gatekeeper of the light. Not a warrior with a sword, but a protector who shields with light. This guardian stands at the threshold between two worlds, what is seen and unseen, what is physical and what is energetic. They protect not only your body, but your soul, even in your sleep, so it is not taken or trespassed by what does not belong to you. You don't need to say their name out loud. You don't need rituals passed down by others, just a white candle, a slow breath, and the pure intention that whispers, I don't know what energy lingers here, but I ask you to reveal it and protect me. And then you'll feel it, like a warm breeze gently passing through your chest, a quiet knowing that someone has just placed their hand on the spiritual door of your home and sealed it with light. Your home is the cloak that shelters your soul amid the chaos of this world. It must be cleansed, not just with soap and water, but with light, with prayer, with forgiveness, and with gratitude. Your home, just like your heart, is only truly alive when it is connected to love and to faith. Your home can become a place where God stops by if you leave a quiet space for trust to dwell. Your home is worthy of protection, the same way you would protect a fragile soul learning how to breathe again. And that is when the guardian smiles. Your home is no longer just silent walls. Your home is no longer just shelter from sun and storm. Your home has become a sacred temple where your soul can find stillness in the midst of a noisy world. But have you ever truly realized that this home has already been sealed with light? Or is there something more, still waiting to be seen? Some things that happen in your home may seem random, but are actually signs. Not every breeze is from the window. Not every lost item is forgetfulness. Not every shiver in the night comes from a drop in temperature. Sometimes, it's the signal of a presence. Have you ever felt uneasy one evening, not knowing why, and suddenly felt a strong urge to clean, to open all the windows, to turn on every light, to change the water at your altar, or simply to stand in the center of your home and pray? That's not random. That is your energy responding to something unseen, and your home wanting to purify itself. Your house, as I said, is not lifeless. It is alive. And when its energy is disrupted, when something foreign tries to enter, it sends you a message in the simplest way, a silent push in your heart. Many have said the same. They could only focus on cleaning at 3 a.m., or suddenly felt the urge to light a candle just as the sun was setting. Strange? Yes. But also true. Because when the light is threatened, the soul will cry for help. And the very first act is always to purify the space around it. There are people who enter your home and then leave just as quickly without reason. Maybe you noticed they seemed uneasy or suddenly changed plans, or perhaps after they left, you felt the space grow lighter. That wasn't random. That was your home's instinct to protect itself. Their soul, or the energy they carried, was not allowed to stay. And your guardian angel, the one who stands watch at the gate of light, quietly closed the invisible door behind them. And then there are softer signs. A faint sound in a room where no one stands. A flash of light across the wall, though there's no source. A white feather in a place where no bird could have passed. In those moments, don't be afraid. That's when your angel comes by to check in. They don't knock, they don't announce themselves, but they leave traces, not to scare you, but to remind you you are not alone. And have you ever noticed how some things in your house disappear for a while? You search everywhere, again and again, but it's gone. And then one day it reappears, right where you had looked a dozen times. No, it wasn't forgetfulness. And no, you weren't imagining things. That was a message, a quiet way of saying, we're watching over you, and you are protected. There was a middle-aged woman who once shared a story I never forgot. She lived alone, and during long stretches of gray, moody weather, she often felt something wasn't quite right. Not fear, exactly, but a restless heaviness beneath her ribs. And every time that feeling came, she would light a white candle and place it in the center of her home. She wouldn't do anything more, just sit there, breathe, watch the flame. One quiet night, she suddenly caught the scent of jasmine, soft, pure, so real it made her feel like she was standing in a sacred temple. But there were no flowers in the house. The next morning, she received a phone call, an investment offer from an old acquaintance. It sounded enticing, but something inside her pulsed with warning. She decided to look deeper, and what she found was a well-organized financial scam that she had narrowly escaped, simply because her intuition had whispered, and the light of the candle had led her to clarity. Some call these things coincidences, but to me, and perhaps to you, they are silent miracles. Because those who have been protected without even knowing it understand this truth. Angels don't need lightning to arrive. The guardian of light does not swing a sword. All it takes is a small sign and a heart quiet enough to hear it. And if you've ever felt something like this, a moment you were saved from something you never even saw coming, a whisper in the dark that came without a name, leave a light below this video. Not to boast, but to remind each other we are being watched over, and we are never truly alone. And if there are signs that you are being protected, then there are also signs that something foreign may already be slipping in. What happens when your home no longer feels safe? Listen closely, because that shift may have started long ago. Not everyone who knocks deserves to come in. Not everyone who smiles has good intentions. And not everyone who looks fragile is someone you're meant to save. The door to your home is also the boundary of your soul. It doesn't open with just a key, it opens with your consent. And the guardian at your gate only steps aside when you invite in what was never meant to belong. Some people arrive with a bouquet, but their eyes carry arrows. Some call you light, only to drain the very light they praise. They don't break down your door, they make you open it. Not with force, but with sweet words. Not with demands, but with pity stitched in silk. No one can enter while you remain alert. No one can enter if you set your boundaries at the right time. No one can enter unless you open the door with misplaced compassion. Who are they? They are the ones who make you feel guilty for creating space. The ones who whisper, "You're the only one who understands me." The ones who ask for just one more chance and bring the same old wounds back with them. The ones who show up when you're shattered, but disappear when you're the one in need. They don't just intrude, they settle in, cleverly. By repeating the same old script, they come in, touch something tender in you, soften your guard, and take with them a piece of the light you've worked so hard to protect. There was a woman who once told me a story that still stays with me. For years, she carried guilt for refusing to help an old friend from her youth who had returned asking for assistance. This friend seemed fragile, spoke of loneliness, struggle, feeling lost, and she, a woman whose heart had always turned toward the light, almost replied, "Almost." But in one moment of clarity, she remembered that gaze from long ago, a silent manipulation. Later, she learned that this person had deceived and exploited many others, using the very same charm they'd once tried on her. She never responded, and in choosing silence, she saved herself. Silence is its own kind of exorcism. Silence is your soul's way of saying, "I've already learned this lesson." You don't need to shout. You don't need to explain. You just need to never reopen the door that once made you bleed. Non-reaction can sometimes be stronger than resistance. And keeping distance is not about being cold. It's about honoring the sacred space you've finally learned how to protect. There are things that must not stay, not because they're too dark, but because your light can no longer endure them. There are invitations that should be burned before they're ever opened. There are promises better left to the wind than allowed inside to mold and rot within your heart. Because your home doesn't just hold objects, it holds energy. And you don't just choose who enters your house, you choose who touches your soul. So remember this, no one can enter if you stop opening your heart to what is unworthy. No one can enter if your boundaries are made of light. No one can enter if you stop repeating the lessons that once broke you. The guardian angel at your gate cannot choose for you. They can only stand watch, waiting for you to choose. And if you invite in what is not of the light, they will step back, because your soul's consent is always the ticket for both light and darkness. Listen carefully. When someone comes near and you feel a pressure in your chest, even as they smile. When a message reaches you and it stirs your heart but not your peace. When a single gaze reminds you of old wounds, and you feel guilty for not embracing them one more time. That is when you do not need to open the door. That is when you are allowed to say no. As a sacred prayer for your own freedom, your home is not a hotel for every wandering soul. It is a tiny temple for the light to dwell, and you are the one entrusted with the key. So how do you keep that door strong? How do you avoid being manipulated by familiar knocks that carry old energy? How do you protect your home and your soul from being stolen piece by piece by hands disguised as kindness? A simple ritual, performed with clear intention and a heart awake, can become the seal that marks the boundary. A small act, but strong enough to say to all that is not meant for you, "I no longer invite you in, I choose the light." And so, what is this ritual? You only need a few minutes, a single white candle, and an intention born from the truth in your heart. Because sometimes a single moment of sincerity is enough for the light to return, and the door to be sealed by trust. A place where the door no longer shuts out only darkness, but opens to the presence of true light. There will be days when you cannot explain the unrest in your heart. No tragedy has struck, yet your chest feels heavy. No one has entered, yet the room feels colder. No nightmare has come, but you wake up in the middle of the night, feeling as if something just passed through the threshold between the dream world and this one. On those days, it is your soul that is speaking, and your home that is asking to be cleansed. You don't need a complicated ceremony, no wind chimes, no incense, no ancient chants. You only need a simple act, but one that comes from the whole of your heart. Begin with light. When the sun has gone down, when the world falls quiet, stand at the front door of your home. Light a white candle, the flame of purity, of angels, and of belief. Place your right hand over your left chest, where your heart still beats, and softly speak in the voice of your soul. I call upon Archangel Michael. I ask you to place a light of protection upon this space. No one may enter here without divine permission. This is not just a prayer. It is a command, a spiritual seal, a declaration of sovereignty over your sacred space, as if building a wall of invisible light that only good may pass through. Next, prepare a small handful of white salt, an ancient symbol of purity, used in cleansing rituals across East and West. Sprinkle the salt around the entryways of your home, your front door, windowsills, or wherever the energy feels most open. Salt is a symbol, not for banishment with anger, but to draw a gentle line between light and shadow. It tells the universe, here I have chosen the light, and all that is not light, you are free to turn away in peace. And when the candle is still burning and the salt has touched the ground, speak your affirmation as if signing a covenant with the universe itself. This home is a sanctuary for healing. Only light is welcome to remain. All else shall be released with love. No banishing, no bitterness, no battles. Only choice. Choosing light, choosing peace, choosing the return. And you will feel it, a warm breath moving through your fingers, a gentle exhale from the space around you, an unseen visitor stepping through your spiritual door. Not loud, not grand, but leaving behind a seal of protection on every brick, on every wall. You can return to this ritual anytime. When you move to a new home, after an argument, a heartbreak, or a loss. When unease rises for no clear reason. Or simply as a way to cleanse the soul of your home, the same way you clean its floors each week. If this ritual speaks to something within you, or if you wish to receive guidance on more advanced practices, daily prayers, or how to connect directly with Archangel Michael through dreams and light, just leave one word in the comments, Michael. It is not just a signal to me, but a message to the guardian of the gate of light that says, I am ready to enter the protected realm. From this moment on, your home is no longer just a place you return to at the end of a long day. It is now a space chosen by an angel to dwell alongside you. You don't have to see the light to know it's shining. You don't have to hear the bells to know something holy just passed through. You only have to feel a new peace, a deeper sleep, a softer smile on mornings that don't seem to need a reason, and a heart no longer fighting invisible battles in silence. Because when you place your trust in light, the light stays. And when you seal your living space with love, everything that no longer belongs to you will quietly withdraw, like morning mist fading as the first sun ray touches your rooftop. You don't need to be perfect. You only need to be awake enough to keep your candle burning. You don't need to chase anyone to feel safe. You only need to return and relight the flame in your own home. And trust this, if you keep the candle, the sky will find its way to shine through it. And when you speak to the universe, say this with your whole soul, I am ready to hold what is sacred. Thank you for walking with me until this very last breath of the story. Thank you for the courage to look into the quiet corners of your own space. Thank you for choosing to heal instead of remaining silent in suffering. And if you've ever felt a sign of protection, a strange, quiet sense of peace, please share your story in the comments, because your story may become a light for someone still unsure of what they've felt. If you'd like to continue this journey, to learn more about deeper rituals, daily soul-aligned prayers, or ways to stay in direct connection with Archangel Michael, just leave one word, Michael. Because when you call the light by name, the light will call your name too. And I'll meet you again in a deeper layer of this journey where every soul learns how to become the keeper of the gate of their own sacred life.